Today we're going to visit a garden that's somewhere a bit unexpected. It's not down here, it's somewhere up there. Welcome to Fenway Farms, the rooftop garden at Boston Red Sox ballpark, supplying around 3 tons of fresh produce for on-site use. Chris, wow, I don't think many people would expect this when they're looking up from down there. It's
right,
kind of unexpected.
I think it is very unique. Yeah, there's not too many sporting stadiums in the United States that have a 5,000 square foot rooftop farm.
That's incredible. And like, how much produce are you growing here and what's the setup here?
So I think last year we probably hit about 6,000 pounds. We've done a few improvements this year with some organic fertilizer injection and some other infrastructure things to maybe get us up to 7,000 pounds.
Amazing.
Who knows? And I was telling you earlier, it's really not rocket science. We're not flying to the moon here. We might be curing cancer, but it's taking agriculture up off the ground and putting it in a place where it's not commonly happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all organic, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's, there's no, everything's looking so healthy. Is having everything raised off the ground, does it help with kind of like pest levels and maybe better light? I don't know. There must be some advantages.
I do think that being protected from the wind and the elements with these 3 walls is certainly helpful. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of an oasis in here. And there's certainly tons of environmental benefits that come along, mitigating stormwater runoff. Mm. Another thing I don't think most people consider is if you take a look across the street, there's a black asphalt roof. Yeah. And that roof will have a tendency to be 10 or 15 degrees hotter than it is here. So this has a natural cooling effect and a natural heat island reduction effect, which is certainly an important thing for urban settings.
It must save quite a lot of money as well, just in heating and cooling costs. It's incredible.
That's absolutely correct. If you think about it, there's 12 inches of soil in each of these containers, and they're keeping the building much cooler in the summertime, and they're helping it to stay warm in the wintertime. And another very important sort of environmental thing is just think about all the rainwater that's not now running off into the waste water system of the city and flowing out into the Boston Harbor, but staying up here growing organic vegetables.
Providing a real public service here as well, aren't you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So looking at the mix here, I'm seeing some perlite and some sort of bits of woody material. Is this sort of old, like composted waste?
Yes.
And what is it? Yeah.
This is chicken waste, chicken bedding waste, chicken manure waste. And composted. A wonderful company up in Vermont called Vermont Compost manufactures this. It's about half the weight.
I was going to say it's very light.
It's called Fort Light. Half the weight. So, when we're hauling this up and down, we're changing out or rotating this soil. We're dumping these out every 3 or 4 years. Mixing new soil in, mixing organic fertilizer back in. And bringing it up and down to a rooftop, it's lighter material.
It saves the back. And like every 4 years, this stuff will last. Just by topping it up and so on. Then you can.
I guess you could call it tillage.
Tillage, yeah, I guess it is.
We dump it out, we add more in. Every year we're topping off right on top with more compost.
Great. And each box here, I'm loving this modular system. It's so like everything's plug and play, isn't it? But
it's very functional.
And each box has got its own little dripper here by the looks of it.
So these emitters, some boxes might have 2 depending on the size of the plant. So if you'll notice back in the tomato plants, I think you'll see 2 at times. So they're getting ready to do that because as the plants get larger and they have a lot more leaf area, they're respiring a lot more. So super efficient way of irrigating, drip irrigation.
Amazing.
So every spring we really get a wonderful crop of sugar snap peas. And when you think about it, for a chef, there's really not a more wonderful opportunity for hyper local produce.
Yeah.
The kitchen is literally about 150 feet that way.
It's as local as it gets, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, thank you. I mean, that is just the crunch, the sweetness.
It doesn't really get any fresher.
It doesn't get any fresher than that. That is lovely. Chris, I've made us crouch down here because it's so nice to be amongst the companion flowers here. I see borage, calendula, cornflowers, and there's a butterfly here. This is lovely.
Wonderful, yeah. Well, yeah, we really lean into intercropping and companion planting to maximize this space, this real estate. So you'll see a lot of different flowers there's borage here, there's zinnias around, there's marigolds around. in here with the potatoes here, and we've got beets behind us, some pepper plants over here, but we'll intercrop herbs and things when the plants are younger. We've got cilantro growing wonderfully over there, next to the eggplants, a few different kinds of eggplants. So
got the basil with the tomatoes, that classic combination as well. It's looking good. So you've got a few sites dotted around the city, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got a bunch. We've got 180 different sites.
180, wow.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
That's immense.
That we're maintaining and providing programming around. You know, thousands and thousands of people come to Fenway Park and see what's possible to do on a rooftop in an urban setting. But at Green City Growers, to me, and I think to everybody that works there, it's super important to bring people together.
Yes.
Food is a universal uniting element in all of society.
Love it.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that now that we're 3 or 4 or 5 generations removed from coming off the farm, I certainly feel it's very important for people to reconnect with the earth and the food. And again, one of the wonderful things is when we get involved in crop planting, the culinary aspects of Fenway Park are intimately involved in what we're growing. I mean, there's certain limitations here. We're here in Boston. It's a very cold winter time. In the winter time, we're tucked away, you know, doing crop planting and doing seed buying, but the chef and the kitchen is involved intimately in that process. So we're growing, in the springtime, we're growing cooler weather crops, of course. In the summertime, we're growing tomatoes and peppers and other sorts of fruiting crops. And then as we head back into fall, we're growing some more cooler weather crops, carrots, cabbages, kale, things like that.
Great. This must be a chef's dream then, because presumably they're telling you or asking you, please could you grow? And you're doing that, are you?
Totally, yeah. And it's a great learning process for all of us as farmers. We need to understand what the culinary people are looking for. And for them, they need to know what is possible and reasonable. We're not growing, you know, oranges here in New England. But yeah, we have a huge process, a very large spreadsheet that is detailed on how the successions are going to work, what species are growing and where, because as you know, and many of your viewers know, you know, a radish takes 30 days to grow, a tomato takes 100 days to grow. So we really have to plan out and use this very valuable real estate intelligently.
That must be quite fun, the keeper of the spreadsheet, working it all out and so on. That's quite a position, isn't it?
It takes a village. There's a few people involved in that in our horticulture department and the people that manage this site. I think it's a wonderful thing about Green City Growers. The farmers, there's 25 farmers at Green City Growers. They're all expert organic gardeners, which makes me feel really proud of what we've done here. But also they have a lot of autonomy of what they're doing on their different sites. So Haley's the head farmer here, and she has you know, direct contact with the chef, doing the harvesting here on a regular basis, and coordinating all kinds of different things with the chef.
Amazing. So one of the great things about this modular system, I'm guessing, is that you're kind of like planning exactly how many of each crop in each box. So it looks like about 9 onions.
Correct.
So it's kind of like square foot gardening, isn't it? Because are these, what are the actual containers?
Yeah, these are actually milk crates that commercial milk companies deliver to supermarkets and restaurants. They're gallon or half-gallon milk containers in.
Great.
And there's actually a cubic foot of soil in each of these.
Okay.
It's about 12 inches deep, which is really, you know, all that an annual crop needs. And so it makes it super efficient, super modular. Yes, very much just like square foot gardening.
And you were saying to me earlier, before we started filming, that you reckon there's about 5,000 different species of microorganisms in the soil here.
Yes, there's about 5,000 different species in here. It'll be interesting as technology advances to begin to understand which are the ones we want to have more of and which are the ones we want to have less of.
You don't think AI is going to put us out of work just yet?
I think you and I are safe for a while. I think AI might be impacting, you know, certain jobs in the computer world and technology world and things like that, but when it comes to agriculture and farming and gardening, the human side is here to stay for a while.
Not so keen on getting its fingernails dirty, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, as you know from gardening, you got to keep the pests out, and there's multiple different ways of doing that using organic, certified organic crop protection materials. But a very simple way is this textile here, this agricultural textile that has a very small mesh in it that excludes white flies and thrips and aphids and things like this. And it's a wonderful way to keep a crop pesticide free. Look at how wonderful this kale is,
That
for
looks
example.
it's absolutely flawless. There's no white fly or anything. Look at that. And obviously the road covers are doing their job.
Just like you'd see in the supermarket.
And I love the, again, the system here. You've cable tied on these sort of tubes here, and then you insert these. So it's all kind of plug and play. It's can be
just
replicated
super functional,
across the
super
site.
replicatable.
Yeah. These are looking really verdant. What sort of potato variety is this?
We're trying to grow varieties that are really based on culinary attributes, things that taste good, great texture, great aroma, great appearance. So these are fingerling potatoes of different varieties and things like that.
Great. And do you have a preferred tomato? You've got some nice vining tomatoes that were just planted here, I see. What's your go-to for that?
Actually, predominantly we're growing small fruited tomatoes, cherry tomatoes,
cherries,
golden cherries, things like that, that can really be distributed across a lot of salads.
Yeah, I guess that's right. So you like the sun gold variety?
Exactly, sun golds, yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so when these potatoes come out, something very quickly is going to go back in succession after them. And the plant material that comes out of here is brought back to Green City growers and is composted off-site by a third-party composter with the potential that it comes back and is used in the garden soil here again.
The loop there, yeah.
Sure, the concept of circularity at Green City growers, it's super important, you know.
And this is obviously prime space here. So do you start them off as like plug plants elsewhere,
Absolutely.
like on a nursery or something?
Yeah, so we're trying to use all of the technical practices that a commercial organic vegetable grower would use. So we have a commercial propagation house back at our warehouse and fabrication facilities that we propagate all the plants for all of our sites.
Great. I love it. Like, very efficient and yeah.
Right, because it's a very complicated thing that we're doing. So bringing in efficiency will help build credibility about a more local food system, which is really such an important part of our mission and purpose.
And that's quite different, isn't it, from like a market garden, because you want this to scale. So you've got to prove it's kind of like it's commercial viability and that it's sort of easy to scale up.
I think it's important that people understand the potential of growing stuff that they might have seen in the grandmother's backyard or even in the supermarket that looks of the same quality and consistency that product is, and that can build credibility to help establish a more localized food system. I think it's of critical importance to build out agricultural literacy, and as you guys can see, all of these hundreds of people that have passed by just today alone on these tours, they can see the potential of what's possible on a rooftop or really anywhere in an urban setting.
These are so lush and verdant. Do you reckon they might be ready, Chris?
Well, we shouldn't rush things. They probably need a couple more weeks, but let's have a peek anyway.
Oh, I reckon that's, yeah, like another week or two, but that's good to go. I'm going to go straight in. Do you mind?
Not at all. Sweet?
Sweet. It's lovely.
Excellent.
Chris, you seem so passionate and knowledgeable. Is this something you've always been into?
I started working on a mixed vegetable farm at a very young age. And while I think a lot of things going on in my life, I wasn't really adjusting well in school and I didn't do too well with adulting, I really did feel passionate and attracted to farming, and I felt smart and I felt productive and I was earning money. And I think I've always had a really strong natural curiosity, and this is certainly something that feeds that. And you know, I just turned 60 in May.
60?
Yes.
Oh, I was guessing 50. You're looking very fine on it.
Oh, thank you very much. Maybe it's this.
Maybe it's
maybe
the good,
it has
the
a lot
greens. Yeah.
But you know, I'm still as curious as ever, and it's amazing how much I learn all the time and how fascinating and broad and deep and wide the subject really is.
That's one of the things I think. The more you learn, the more you realise there's still so much to learn, and that's the great joy about growing, isn't it, in gardening?
Oh, I think that's, I would say, almost the exact same thing, and it's very humbling never to be confused with humiliation. And you know, an interesting fun fact that people don't know, humic acid, which is how plants really eat and feed themselves through a liquid called humic acid in the soil. The words human being and humility come from humic acid. The root of the word, if you will,
I like
is humic acid.
And that's wonderful. It really literally ties us into the soil. I love that. Wow, Chris, look at these bad boys here. They're like really harshing up. They're so stunning. Look at them.
Yeah, they look great.
They look great. And all of the produce here is looking fab. That's one of the things that's really impressed me today, actually, is like, we're way up here. It's kind of a bit exposed, but there's so much great lush produce coming up here.
We have an incredible team of farmers at Green City Growers.
And I was going to say, Green City Growers, you've got sites all over Boston, so I'm going to drop a link to the website down below in the description, so please do check that out, because it's amazing what these guys are doing, seriously. And Chris, on a personal level, you're so passionate and so warm about everything here. It rubs off on everyone, so thank you for having us here today.
You're very welcome.
Really
It's been
appreciate
great having you, Ben.